does it mean to walk according to the flesh? Galatians 5 will tell us that. The deeds of the flesh are, let's go to Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Galatians 5:19. No more guilt. Now the works of the flesh are evident: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness. You see the list. If you're not walking according to, or in another translation, you're not walking after or behind the flesh, then you are in Christ Jesus. But according to the Spirit, and likely, contrary to look at, I should say the contrast, look at verse 20, 21, 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering. So if you're walking not according to the flesh, then you don't have a very visual outward appearance of the things that the flesh comes into. Selfish ambitions, licentiousness, envy, murder, strife, adultery, fornication, all those. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has made me free, or made you free, from the law of sin and death. So we got to look at these two words, these two phrases. The law of the Spirit of life and the law of the sin and death. Paul is saying, the law of the Spirit of life has made me free. This law, family, means a set of principles or rules or regulations when forced or when used will produce a desired result or desired outcome. The law says we're not to drive over certain mileage. So if we are driving under that mileage, then it produces a mileage or a speed under that, right? Okay, so this law is a set of principles. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has made me free. The principles, the rules, the regulations, the commands, the guidelines of the Spirit of life has made us free. So if we're walking according to the Spirit, and the law of the Spirit, the principles and the rules of the Spirit has made us free, then if we're living by the law of the Spirit of life, then we are free. It has freed us from what, Paul says? It has freed us from the law, the principles of the sin and death. See, when you're not walking with Jesus, or you're not walking according to the Spirit, you're pursuing after the flesh. And if we have been freed from the law, if you're not free from the law of the sin of death, then you're walking according to the principles and the rules of the flesh. Now, again, taking context now, Romans chapter 7. Paul talks about Romans 7 that there's a spirit man, the inward man desires to do the things of the Spirit, but there's another member in me, which he calls the flesh, who desires to do the things that the flesh desires. Regard, follow after the flesh. So this principle, what Paul was saying, because I am in Christ Jesus, the principles and the rules and regulations of the Spirit, now I walk by. And I have been made free from that old me, the principles of the old me. Just think about it, family.